Hi, welcome back to our Sproutable Q&A. This week we have a question from a parent who wants to know, what do I do when my child will not participate at an activity? This might mean soccer or swimming or gymnastics or kung fu. So first of all, you are not alone. I'm so glad you asked this question because not only have I experienced it with each of my 3 children, but every time I am at one of those activities, inevitably I see it with other families as well. So just know you are not alone. It's really common. Just like grown-ups that sometimes don't want to do something that we've signed up for, or we're not sure really whether we want to go that evening, kids feel the same way. So here's what I would recommend. And I always like to talk about this in terms of prevention and intervention. So what do we do ahead of time to set them up for success? And what do we do in the moment when inevitably they do not want to participate? So prevention-wise, as much as you can give kids a sense of control, we know that kids have intrinsic motivation. They're motivated to do something when they feel they have autonomy, when they feel like they have the competence, so they have the skills, and when there's this relatedness, when they feel connected to you around it. So thinking about when you're actually signing up for whatever activity it is, whether they've had any buy-in ahead of time. So consider your own family values. What's important to you? What are the things that are absolute musts in your family, and what are the things that are just really important for you that you want them to have as a skill growing up? So for us, it is an absolute must that our kids do swim lessons. That's important for us as a safety issue. We also have their dad is also a golfer, and so golf is really important. So he wants them to learn how to golf. For some families, it's really important that they learn some type of a musical instrument. For other families, it's really important that they do a team sport. Or for other families, they realize that their kid's temperament really is about those individual sports and they're going to be most successful in those. So considering what's important to your family, take into consideration your own child's temperament. And you can also think about if they do seem to gravitate towards more individual sports, maybe it's something that they can stretch then, and you want to encourage them to do at least one team sport a year. So consider those questions as a family. What are your absolutes? What are your options? And then it's also really important to consider your schedule. You know, for some families, they're able to do 3 different extracurricular things within a year. For other families, they're like, we can pick one thing and that's it. But the great thing is that you get to decide that as a family. So once you've decided, so for example, just taking the swim lessons into account, we've decided swim lessons are a must. They don't have control over that. They don't get to decide whether or not they're taking swim lessons, but I do give them some control about what day of the week they want to do it, or even a simple time choice. Maybe I can say, do you want it 10 o'clock or do you want 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning? And they feel that little sense of, okay, I've made some decision with this. The other thing that helps to set them up for success is then to do some role play. Let them know what to expect as much as you can. You know, sometimes you don't always know. So let them know what to expect. Is it going to be a big group? Are there going to be 2 teachers, just one? Is it just going to be for a half an hour? So really set them up for success in that way, and then role play that initial saying goodbye, letting them start the activity. It's also helpful when kids have relevance, like, why are we doing this? You know? So sure, it's fun, right? Going to soccer is fun, or going to kung fu might be really fun, or they might have friends in a class that they're taking, friends from school that they're taking it with as well. So that might be fun. But also really think for yourself, why are we doing this? You know, when we take the example of swim lessons, we say it's for safety, so that when we are at Grandma and Grandpa's and we're swimming in their community pool, or when we go to the beach, that we are comfortable with water and that we're safe in water. I talk a lot about with the team things that it helps us learn how to be with each other, how to be flexible, how to get along. And then, as you know, here at Sproutable, we believe that real moments are learning moments, and these types of activities are great moments for learning, for growing their brain, for learning those life skills. So think about your list. What is it that you're hoping that they are going to get out of it? And then really share that. Pull the curtain back for your kiddos and really explain to them why we're doing this. So all of that preparation will really be helpful for most kids. And then as I said, there is going to be that time where you're going to get there and they are going to be like, no way. So there might be a scenario where it is so chaotic, it is crazy. Kids are like just everywhere. And so your, kiddo that might be more of a watcher, who might be more of a cautious type, they might need that time. Allow that for them. The only thing that I say is you just got to show up, right? That's a life lesson. We're showing up. And just slice it thinner. So maybe the first time you get there and they are just going to watch it for the entire time. And then the next time you go, you're going to watch it and then you're going to try. And between that first time and the second time, you're role playing. Now you've had way more information about what to expect. And so you're able to prepare them more and practice. And then set a goal. Say, okay, what's our goal this week? Is it just to start the first half? Is it to watch for about 10 minutes and then join in? Create a goal together that you can, again, practice and then give it a go that next time that you do it. And the whole opportunity that setting goals has for kids is that executive functioning. So when we set a goal, when we monitor progress, when we say, how did it go today? What do we need to do differently? What can we do differently next time? Okay, now let's practice. And really having it be in that muscle memory, doing the role play will really be helpful for kids. I will tell you what is not helpful. Screaming at the kids, telling them they better get in there or they're not going to get any ice cream, telling them that you're not going to look at them or talk to them unless they are participating. I've seen these things happen on the sidelines so often, and I look at these kids and they are just screaming inside for help. They are seeking comfort from you. Give them that hug, get down to their level, encourage them, remind them what your goal is. Tell them you can do this, you're capable, that you trust the teacher, that you trust the coach. Walk them out there, give them that little dose of independence. If they come running back to you again, give them that hug, say you can do this, walk them back over. And then ultimately, if they really are stressed, say, okay, we'll watch our friends for the rest of the time. And then remind them, but we're going to show up each time because we signed up for this. So just to reiterate again, in that moment, we can feel really embarrassed as parents. We can feel really frustrated. We can feel like it's a waste of our time. It's a waste of our money. I can't believe we did this. What are we doing here? You just want to eject because your brain is going into the fight or flight a little bit as well. You're picking up on those mirror neurons. But just pause and zoom out for a minute. What is really going on here? Is this just a 3-year-old at the soccer practice? Is it really that big of a deal? Remember those life skills ultimately that you're learning. This is step 1. This is their first dose of just experiencing this kind of an activity. So literally and figuratively, they're jumping into the deep end a little bit here, So allowing them those little steps, it might just be showing up and really just taking in what the activity is. In between each session, you get to decide as the family firmly that we have signed up for this class and we are going to go each week. What they have control over is what part they want to participate in, how much they want to stretch themselves, and then just continuing to remind them, in our family, we do hard things. We love challenges. We grow our brain. We can do this. When we feel uncomfortable, that's a moment that we're really growing and learning new things. Reminding them it's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to feel a little scared, a little sad, that you're right there with them to help them through those emotions as well. And I just want to leave us by saying, when you are in that moment where your child will not participate and you feel that rise up in you, that anger or that frustration around the money that you've spent or the time that you're in or other parents are looking at you, remember that you have that moment to teach your child what to do when they have a big emotion. So if you react in an emotional way or in a frustrated way or with shame or with blame, that's what they're going to internalize in that vulnerable moment that they're having. When you can model taking a deep breath, being grounded, giving them a big hug, say, I'm here with you and you are capable, you can do this. They're going to internalize that in that moment. That's the self-talk that they're going to have for themselves as well. Another question that I'm often asked is, when is it okay to quit? It depends on the activity. Sometimes activities are session-based. It might just be 6 to 10 weeks. So if you've already paid, you've committed, you trust that the organization is safe, you see other kids having a good time, then it's a great opportunity for them to flex those stick it through muscles, to practice perseverance and persistence and some resilience as well. So stick it through for the end of the session. And then you can ask them, you can say, do you want to sign up for another session, or is there another team activity that you want to do? Or if it's swim lessons or it's something that's in your family that's your no-go, then you just say, we'll try again next session. And you are really modeling that you don't give up either. There are times that it is okay to quit. And I have seen this in firsthand as well, that you might have signed up for this thing that sounded really cool and your friends told you to sign up for it. And then you get there and you realize it is such a terrible fit for your kid. It might be unorganized. You might not have faith in the grown-ups that are running it. It might feel so scary that it really is stressing your child out to the point of no return. At that point, you've got to do your own gut check. That is totally okay at that point for you to say, we're not going to go back there. But the important thing is to really teach into why you're not doing that, so that your child doesn't interpret. We know that kids are good perceivers, poor interpreters. So they don't interpret, oh, we can give up when things are hard. But when you really explain to them that this is important to you, this type of an activity, but that's not the right fit, and you are going to find one that is a good fit. So it's not over. Swim lessons are not over. Then I think that's really important for kids too. So bottom line, decide what's important for your family. Decide what kinds of activities, how many activities, and what are some important things for you all. And then I think what's really fun is to watch your kids grow through them, to be able to experience and try out new things and see the things that they really get into and get passionate about. Even seeing the progression between my 3 children that are all so different and watching them find their pathways. So it's really fun to have that variety and also not feel like you have to pigeonhole your kids either into certain things, or that they all have to be a certain way. Thank you so much for sending in this question. We so appreciate it. It's so relevant for so many families, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Real moments are learning moments.